Okay, so you moved to Joburg.
Yeah.
Okay, so you left. You go to Cape Town and you recoup. Your brother helps you, and then you come back and you're involved in all of these
Yeah.
NGOs and things like that. Have you always wanted to be helpful? Did you always have that streak?
I come from a family of educators. So my mom was like a headmistress. My dad was a clerk at the Department of Education in the Eastern Cape. So I come from a background of people who are teachers. So there's always been that element of always helping others. And funny enough, my mom always even mentioned that she was disappointed that none of her kids actually followed in her footsteps to become a teacher. And I realized actually when I started advocating that I'm actually following in her footsteps, but
Yes.
in a different line of work. And the only reason actually I even got into advocating was because I saw that I have some sort of influence. And what's the point of not using it actually for good? And also for me, growing up as a young gay man, I didn't have access to information or access to people I could speak to about questions around sex, questions around HIV, rather safe sex, HIV, relationship advice, those kind of things. I didn't have anyone I could speak to.
Yeah.
So for me, now deciding to be an advocate is basically me saying that I want to be an older brother to some of the younger gay people who may need advice, who may need their answers, they may need their questions answered. So
That's pretty cool.
yeah.
The part that you said about your mom being or your parents being in the teaching field. Same thing with my sister.
Yeah.
My mom was a nurse for the longest time,
Yeah.
and she's so good.
Yeah.
So good with people
Yeah.
and understanding.
But it comes
their
with the
things
job.
and
Nurses are
and,
like.
You know, she used to be on Lifeline. If I couldn't get a hold of her, I used to call her on the Lifeline number.
What was it again? 0800, ne?
Yes,
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I used to call her on it, and I thought to myself, one of us would turn out to be
Yeah.
very much like that, and it ended up being my sister.
Yeah.
She works with Anova Health, she works with We the Brave.
Yeah, I've met her actually.
Yeah,
she's cool people, yeah.
She's teaching in the exact same thing
Yeah.
that my mom did, but she never studied that. But somehow it always kind of brings, I don't know, it's just funny.
It takes you back to the same industry because at the
Yeah.
same time it's health
Yeah.
with Anova. So she ended up doing essentially what your mom was doing, but in
And
a different
Yeah.
field.
Yeah.
So
Tell us about Anova Health. I want to know
Okay,
about
cool.
Anova
So-
Health. I want to know how it started, like how it came about that you had this relationship with them, because I know they're so good and so thorough when it comes to making health very comfortable and palatable to the layman.
Yeah.
And breaking things down, making
Yeah.
people understand their options, making people understand what is accessible, what you need to know, and how you can protect yourself.
Yeah.
Which for me is beautiful because they kind of make body positivity a little lighter than,
Yeah,
it-
definitely.
It makes
Yeah.
it a little lighter. And when I think about them, I think about the fear around women and going to Mary Stopes clinic because it always sort of means just one thing. And
Yeah.
you're not only going to Mary Stopes to get an abortion, and even if you are, so what?
Yeah.
But you're not only going there for that. There's other things that are so important. Girls are only now, or let me not say only now, but I can only,
Yeah.
right now, I'm seeing a lot of girls actively talk about pap smears and things like that.
Yeah.
But not before.
Yeah.
And now we've got people like Anova Health and We the Brave doing such amazing campaigns
Yeah.
that are trying to punt or kind of normalize the conversation around how to protect yourself with gay sex.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So tell us about Anova Health.
All right, cool. So Anova Health, I got involved with them through We the Brave,
Yeah.
Health for Men, and
Yeah.
Prepsters. So those are the three parts of Anova that I'm working with. So Health for Men, how I got involved with them is that I actually take PrEP. So I take PrEP through them. And
Show the bottom.
yeah, so I take PrEP through them.
Okay.
And I started going to the facilities in Cape Town. So what happened is that I went online and I was just looking at some of the content, and basically I was like, okay, cool, look, this is what I'm doing,
Yeah.
and this is what I want to do, and this is how I see you guys fitting in this, and this is how I see you guys benefiting. And the marketing manager was like, cool, thank you so much, I actually like your idea. And also at the same time, it was around when my story, my feature story that I did for Attitude magazine, which is a gay magazine in the UK, came out. So I used that also as a reference to show that, look, I put myself out there and I talk about my work with PrEP. So this is how you guys could benefit with working with me. And basically for me, I've always had my eyes on Anova and Health for Men and We the Brave because of how their messaging is and also how it will work with my brand. I don't like using that word, my brand.
Yes, honey, you would have put that into the universe.
Yeah,
It is your
but
brand.
but how it works out, how it fits in with me, because it's the message that I'm pushing, which is let's talk about PrEP, let's talk about gay sex, let's talk about gay love, let's talk about facilities where you can access these things, because as a gay man, I struggle to go to a normal clinic or normal hospital, because when I get there, I know for a fact there's always those uncomfortable, it's not really uncomfortable, but they make it uncomfortable.
See, it's that thing I was talking about.
Yeah.
I was saying that for me, the level playing field, when we've reached what is fair, is when we can just talk about sex. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not have that's different sex thing.
Because I mean, like the fact that anal sex will just make the mama like uncomfortable when you talk about that, because they'll even ask you, like for example, if I'm going to test at a hospital, it will be different. Actually, let me say, not in Joburg, in the Eastern Cape it will be different. The experience will be different, because a lot of them, even though they trained to test you in a particular manner, but they still get it wrong, because a lot of people want to involve religion, and some people can't hold back with their religious beliefs.
No. Yeah.
Because imagine now I'm here to get PrEP and then you asking me about God. Like that doesn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? So I enjoy the fact that they create these kind of facilities where you can actually go and get access to PrEP.
Sorry to cut you off. I want to know, or what do you think? Why do you think this is not as advertised as condoms? Do you know what I mean? Like, why isn't this I've heard, I think, 2 friends talk about going to get this, you know what I mean, confidently. Is it, I don't want to say brand new, is it relatively new?
It kind of is in South Africa, because they only just made it available to basically high-risk groups. So they offer it to sex workers, MSMs, so your males who sleep with males. And the thing is with this is that there's a lot of stigma attached to it as well. So a lot of people in the gay community feel that this tablet is basically giving people permission to have sex bareback without using condoms, but also it basically allows them to do whatever they want, sleep with whoever they want without having any consequences, which is not the case. So a lot of people don't want to get on it because they have that idea. But also at the same time, it also goes back to what I'm saying to you of access and having those kind of facilities that allow you to get PrEP without any problems or any like hassles. So
can you take us through the process of getting it?
Okay, cool. Let me first show you what it looks like actually. So this is what the pill looks like. So it's a blue tablet. And then it's got a number. So mine's M117. So it's got those numbers on here. So that's how you always know what pill you have. You must also check the number. So
how will you know what number you are?
So you'll see
it.
Process? You'll see it the first time.
Prescription? Do I need to? What's the process of me getting?
Okay, so basically, first thing you do, right, is you go for an HIV test, and then once you get your results, and obviously you also go for counseling as well. Once you get your results, you go draw blood. And then they use that blood to test for your kidney function as well as for hepatitis. So once your results come back negative, they give you 1 bottle. So you get 1 bottle in the beginning.
You know, that might, see, that's the thing. That might be the discouraging part. Is that, excuse me, is that it's quite a process to get to the bottle. But it's like,
it's very quick though. It's very quick. Like you don't.
I'm saying the testing part, I think, is like the part where people kind of. Which is sad.
It is. And also, I mean, like, the one thing that this taught me is that you need to be accountable for everyone who you have in your bed. So if now I'm taking this and then I'm still being reckless, then it doesn't make sense to me. So ever since I started taking these pills, like I'm very wary of who I'm with. And also even just paying attention to the fact that I still have to use a condom. Yeah, so it's one of those things, like, if you're comfortable going to a clinic, then I would suggest you go, because at the end of the day, it doesn't make sense to be scared of something that you did, because at the end of the day, if you're having unprotected sex, then you know what the consequences are. Like, we can't pretend like we don't know. So I would say, if people are scared of getting tested, they must go, because it's very confidential, and also even how the doctors do it, most of them give you like good counseling, and you will never be left alone. They always tell you that should your result come out like positive or something that you didn't expect, then they will provide counseling for you, and they provide you with your options afterwards. So they will never leave you hanging where you'll be like, I don't know what I'm going to do next.
I'm happy the health conversation is growing.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that, people like Anova, companies like Anova Health are really expanding how much we talk about it, normalizing.
Yeah.
Normalizing certain phrases.
Yeah.
Normalizing certain pills. That's super, super, super important.
It is. And also, like, another thing is that I don't know if you've noticed in the digital age as well, when it comes to now talking about health and talking about sex, as you were saying, that a lot of women now are starting to talk about their pap smears. Digital era has allowed us to be able to talk openly about some of those issues, but even though we do still get some prudes who'll be like, a woman shouldn't speak like this or whatever. But I like the fact that there's a lot of women who are defiant, and they're like, screw you, we're actually going to talk about this, because at the end of the day, it's a reality and it affects us. So
the nice thing about digital, and even with the threads that you put out, is the nice thing about it is that even if I am being self-deprecating and I'm admitting something that's completely wrong with me and nobody retweets it, somebody saw it and didn't retweet it but felt a way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So even if somebody is reading what you're writing and they're reading about the depression or the anxiety or, becoming body positive and deciding to actually take your health seriously, whatever it may be, they might not RT it, but the fact that digital has given us the opportunity to just share.
And we stingy again in South Africa with retweets. So for me, that's also another thing. We stingy with retweets, but I never...
don't mean you don't see me.
Exactly, but I never care. I never care when it comes to that, because for me, at the end of the day, it's about getting the message out.
Sure.
Even if one person retweets it, it's still going to get to 100 people.
As long as people have seen, and not as long
exactly,
as
exactly. And also, if you check your engagement when it comes to tweets, you always see how many engagements you get, because you may get 2 retweets, but you may have 1,000 engagements, which means that 1,000 people actually looked at your tweet. So for me, it's never about that. As you said, it's all about the person who reads it. So now I get a lot of DMs from a lot of people asking me about borderline personality disorder. Some people didn't know they had it, because now they're noticing some of the symptoms.
And they didn't know the difference.
Yeah.
Which is something that I will definitely make a point of doing. We'll definitely post the difference between bipolar and
borderline personality. Definitely.
I think that's an important point to make.
Yeah.
Cool. And now you're this liberal, amazing, outspoken, everything. How long have you been liberal? Have you been liberal all along? Did you go from in the closet to liberal?
I'd say I went from in the closet to liberal, because I was always a reserved child and never spoke about sexuality and things like that, because obviously coming from a province which is very... Eastern Cape is homophobic, and I know some people will say it's not, but Eastern Cape is homophobic. We saw the reaction when it was Ingleba. So I mean, it was always tricky for me to navigate in those kind of spaces, but now I'm at a point in my life where I'm so comfortable that I could even go back to the Eastern Cape and talk about these kind of things. I talk about these kind of things with my family. Obviously, the sex talk is different, because I haven't gotten to that point where I can talk openly about sex with my older siblings. Sure. But I mean, when it comes to health and relationships, they know everything that I do. They know that I'm on PrEP. They know what PrEP is. And I try to have those conversations with my family. And also, even what I enjoy now is that now me being liberal and being open, it allows other family members to also see that it's okay to live like this, because in our families, if there's never anyone who comes out and lives openly, there'll always be that one child. We all know that in our extended families, there is another gay cousin or a gay niece or a gay nephew. But if they see you living openly, they know for a fact that, okay, if my uncle is living like this and nothing's happening to him, I can also even go ask him for advice. That's also another thing. So yeah, I don't know. Like it's also important, as you say, to create those spaces.
Yeah, and I think, like I was saying a little earlier, for us it's easy to kind of foster environments that make us comfortable, and you've got to, or a lot of people in the community have to foster their own environments and create their own places of comfort where they don't feel like they're being too crass or too overt or whatever the case is. So I guess what I want to kind of ask you is, you being the liberal that you are, when did you decide that you don't care if you're being offensive or not? Let me ask you that. When did you decide? Do you remember when you decided? Because I remember a post that you put up on Twitter, and I know that you decided long before those years.
Yeah.
But it was probably last year or beginning of this year, and it was looking like a hot tamale with the with the garter, and I think it was a leather garter situation.
The harnesses,
harnesses, honey, hot tamale stuff. And to post that, I was dying because I was like, I need that.
Get your life.
When did you decide that I do not care if I am offensive or not?
I've always been like a very rather after I came out, I've always been an open person and an open book. But as the years obviously have gone by, I've also gone back. Yeah, I've gone back to my shell a bit, but also at the same time, when it comes to certain facets of my life, I don't hold back.
Yep.
So for example, when it comes to sexuality, when it comes to health and all these things I'm passionate about, I won't hold back about that. And also for me, like as you said, body positivity. Another thing for me is that I want to be comfortable in my body. I should be able to post what I want.
It transcends, right?
It transcends.
So it's not, as much as you are, a hot tamale in tight jeans, you need to be a hot tamale in tight jeans.
Exactly.
In a health.
But also at the same time, be able to do whatever you want. So if I feel like posting my picture with harnesses, and if it's going to offend guys, that's their problem. Yeah. Don't look at it. At the end of the day, you don't have to look at it. But that is a part of your body positivity. Yeah, it is, definitely. Sure. So I've always been someone who I consider myself a nudist also. So so I don't hold back. So obviously because of work and stuff like that now, obviously I censor a lot of some of the stuff that I post. But in varsity I used to be like, whatever, I'll post whatever I want. But now censoring, when it comes to the things I'm passionate about, I won't censor that, unfortunately. And I've also said at work that this is what I do. I advocate, and there's no lighter way of saying things, because at the end of the day, I can't sugarcoat something that's real. Okay.
So I've got two more questions for you.
Yeah, okay, cool.
One question is, within the realm of understanding the community, the gay community, what do you think heterosexual men need to do better?
Listen, because the one thing I'd say is that people come with preconceived ideas already. So they come with a notion, an idea of what a gay man is from what they were taught or from what they had seen. So when you try and have a conversation with someone to try and make them understand that, no, listen, this is actually who we are. Our sexuality transcends beyond the sex, because for them, the minute they hear gay, people automatically assume that I'm checking their bum out. No, I'm a gay that actually likes dick. Yeah. I don't.
Also, not every guy's hot to me. Hello.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but also at the same time, it goes back to that thing of a lot of people are taught things at home, so we can't change that. So the only way you're going to learn is if you listen.
When you grow is when you listen.
Yeah.
Cool. And then the last question.
Yeah.
What do you wish that the community would do better? Wait. No.
Do better.
Okay. What do you think? What do you think the homosexual community can do better?
I think
because no one's perfect, right?
Yeah.
There's things that are inappropriate that are happening coming from a heterosexual point of view.
Yeah.
What is inappropriate from a homosexual point of view that homosexual people can do better?
So I think with the LGBTI community plus, we need to accommodate one another, because that's where I think the problem is that we stand like the letters. We are all separate. So it's the L's, it's the G's, it's the B's, it's the T's.
He says we stand like the letters.
We're separate. Because at the end of the day, it's rare that a lot of gay men are going to speak out on issues that affect lesbian or trans people, and most of the time it's always centered around us. So that's why you find that lesbian women are more comfortable hanging out with each other than hanging out with a lot of gay men, and there tend to be a lot of issues when we do hang out because of all these ideas and these stereotypes that exist between us, that we never ever get to a point of understanding.
Outside scrutiny, and then within the community,
Yeah,
there's the
a lot, and also even the fact that a lot of people in the community deal with internalized homophobia. So a lot of them will hate some of the people in the community because of the fact that maybe someone's living openly or that person's too feminine. So that's why we get a lot of these conversations now where you hear gay people uttering nonsense such as, this person's embarrassing the community because they're acting in that way. At the end of the day, we're all individuals. That's why it's a rainbow. We're all individuals, but we make up this big spectrum. And it doesn't make sense to me that we can still have conversations about other people in the community saying that they're embarrassing the community. Because at the end of the day, that flamboyant gay or that campy gay you're making fun of because you think just because you're a masculine dressing gay person that now we won't suffer from the same problems. It's ridiculous because at the end of the day, me actually dressed as masculine won't stop the straight guy in the street.
The fundamentals are the same.
They're still going to produce a lot of homophobia. I'm still going to get people who are still going to have an issue with me for my sexuality. Yeah. So it doesn't matter whether I'm masculine or feminine. At the end of the day, we're still going to be painted with the same brush. We'll be treated the same.
I feel you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for
Not a
sitting
problem.
with me today.
Not a problem.
That
I'm
was
glad.
a dope conversation. Also extremely important to have, guys. 30 minutes is not enough to get through everything, but it's extremely important for us to continue to talk and normalize things and make sure that in our circles we're making people feel comfortable to talk about their sex, to talk about their issues, and not make it feel different. See you next week.